You're watching TTT Boxing in association with IFL TV and KO Clothing. I'm here joined by Channel 7, Fox Sports and main event host Ben Damon. How you doing, Ben?
I'm very well, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks mate, very well. Just basking in the excitement that was today's press conference between Ogilvie and Kambosos.
It was a bit early Anthony Mundine from Kambosos.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, very excitable. He had a few things prepared. I think most of it prepared. And talked up, which is what apparently people want in boxing nowadays, and that's possibly how we get mainstream coverage. We had Channel 7 here today, and Fox Sports will be running it as well later on the press conference, so he put on a show for the cameras, and good on him, because he may make a name for himself out of that.
Absolutely, and like I say, we've seen Mundine do it before, and more recently we've seen Conor McGregor do it in the UFC, so being outspoken certainly works, and perhaps it's something that Australian boxing needs. There's been a lot of very drab press conferences this year that I've been to, so it was nice to have that sort of break from the norm, but obviously you just hope he can back it up, I guess.
Well, yeah, he's filled with potential, George Kambosos, but probably because of the calibre of his opponents, we haven't seen if he's likely to fulfil that just yet. So this is a big test, because I've been really impressed with Brandon Ogilvie, particularly his win over Darragh Foley. He's had a couple of other really good performances as well, including when he got ripped off in Japan. I'm looking forward to this fight, and particularly to see if George Kambosos is as good as he and a lot of other people keep telling us he is, and also because I want to see the continuation of Brandon Ogilvie and see if he's as good as we think perhaps he is.
Yeah, so I think whoever wins this fight is definitely going to emerge as probably the brightest talent in Australian boxing at the moment, or certainly one of,
at least in that group. I think the Maloney twins in Melbourne are right in there as well. There's a bunch of others around that
as well. Probably
Jeff Horn's probably the standout, but
absolutely.
There's some really good fighters. Luke Jackson needs to go along, and so on and so on. But certainly whoever wins this, there's some big things in store, and I know that Oliver from WAC Promotions, who I haven't had a great deal to do with until now, has some big plans for these gentlemen early next year, particularly aware of this fight.
And say, talking of just in general of Australian boxing, this is probably the biggest card this year. Then we've got some other exciting things going on, but then down in New Zealand we've got Joseph Parker fighting for his world title, which Australia will claim as one of theirs once he wins that.
It'll be tough to claim Joseph Parker,
but how do you think boxing is at the moment down here, and what do you think 2017 has in store?
Well, firstly, how do you think boxing is here? Well, boxing here is great. The only problem is the relationship between Australia's promoters and Australia's TV networks, which is what needs to be sorted through. A lot of people, certainly on Twitter and Facebook, think that I'm the person who can fix all that, but it doesn't work like that. These people need to come together and have these conversations and do so for the betterment of Australian boxing, because in terms of where it is, in terms of our talent, I think it's just shy of being very, very good. We've got some really good young boxers. We've mentioned a few names there, and some good international fights on the horizon for those fellas, and there's some good trainers around. There are some good shows. There's a lot of interest. So it's just about getting it all on television and getting the masses to see it and enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think maybe even getting things slightly more centralised. There's so many people fighting over these fighters, and there maybe needs to be some co-promotions, bring some of these stables together to make these bigger shows.
That's exactly what we're talking about. We need the promoters to work together, and the networks to work together with the promoters, and the relationship between everyone to be improved, because that's the only way forward. That's the only way that boxing can compete with other mainstream sports who have those pre-existing arrangements with networks, and who are potentially less difficult to deal with than what networks believe boxing is. So that would be a step forward. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but that's for a more in-depth discussion, I'm sure, another time.
And so in terms of Friday night, obviously the main event everyone's looking forward to. Other than that, what would you say is another potential highlight on Friday?
I'm looking forward to seeing Damien Hooper in action in Sydney, taking on Nader Hampton. Nader is obviously at the back end of his career, or his post-career probably, because he's retired. He's now come back for Jay Mitchell and did quite well in that fight, survived it. And Damien Hooper is a man with immense talent who, his commitment to the sport has probably been questioned at times, but hopefully that has been sorted, because he's an immense talent. And Brock Jarvis as well, who Jeff Fennick has. He was at the press conference today, and Jeff, he's obviously enormous in his praise of the potential of Brock Jarvis, so maybe that'll be something to look at.
Absolutely, and can't underestimate Jeff's influence, and even just bringing, I suppose, eyeballs to the sport always helps.
And if Jeff is committed to training or promoting or managing, then he's going to do it very, very well. The problem has always been with Jeff, and he's the first to admit this, post being a boxer, he's always dipped in and out of the sport because he's become disillusioned at different times, he's had other interests, he's a very busy man, he's successful, so if he's really knuckled down and he wants to be there for Brock Jarvis, and that is a great thing for Brock Jarvis.
Absolutely. Well, look, I'll let you get off. Thanks for your time. I know you've been working hard on the press conference this morning. We'll catch up with you on Friday night.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Tom.
Nice one. Cheers, Ben.